to my podcast. Well, I usually have a co-host today. Not today, usually. But she is sick today. So, Cari, I miss you. Come back. But today we're going to talk about student-athlete mental health in a collegiate setting. So I have a few statistics to run through. So in the 2021-2022 academic year, the year after COVID, there were 19.6 million students in college in the United States, and 520,000 of them were student athletes, meaning about 2.7% of them were student athletes. However, when you look at statistics for small liberal arts colleges, they creep up into the 60%, 70%, 80% range just because of like the small class sizes and the small sizes. Like here at Lyon College, we in our last semester had an enrollment rate of 666 students, and 401 of them, and that's an educated guess, were athletes, which means 60.2% of our campus is student athletes. So that's football, basketball, baseball, softball, volleyball. Oh, I don't want to miss one. I said volleyball.
Track and field.
Cross country.
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Wrestling, archery, soccer. Wait, did I ever say soccer? No. Yes. Now soccer. Cheer and
I
dance.
was going to say, we throwing the dance team in there.
Is esports?
We count them.
It counts.
They're on the athletic website.
Yeah.
So.
They are on the athletic website. I feel like I'm missing something.
Wrestling?
I said wrestling, I think. But yeah, basically just a bunch of sports. And 60.2% of our campus are student athletes, which means that's a majority of our campus. So today I have two student athletes with me today. Kylee and John Paul? Or John?
John Paul.
John Paul. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to do a little introduction of yourselves? Whatever you guys want to...
Yeah, go ahead.
So, yeah, like she said, I'm Kylee. I play volleyball here. Oh, I don't know why I'm looking at the mic.
You're fine. I forgot to point that out. That's y'all's camera. That's mine.
Okay. And I'm an outside hitter.
Okay. I'm John Paul Morgan. I'm a senior here from Batesville, Arkansas. So I'm a hometown kid. I'm a basketball player. I'm a center forward, kind of do it all guy for us. I'm also on the track and field team. I'm a thrower. We've got 6 throwing events. And I throw all 6 of them.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Okay. So outside of your athletic identity, tell me about your academic identity. Tell me about your degrees and what you guys are here to do.
So I'm a biology major with a pre-med concentration, so hopefully I get into med school. I'm taking MCAT in June, so.
She's stressing about it. Trust me. We've talked about it. She's stressing. Yeah. I'm an exercise science major with minors in religion and philosophy and math. So I'm a double minor there. What I'm planning on doing afterwards is going back into sports. So I'm planning on going into coaching. I'm going to coach basketball after this.
Yeah.
And then teach math at the high school level. Hopefully at the high school level. That's where I want to be at.
Yeah.
So.
Do you want to stay like here, like in Batesville?
I want to be around here. I don't necessarily know where I want to be yet. I haven't decided.
Yeah.
But I do want to be around here, around Batesville. So.
That's very cool.
Yep.
That's so sciencey athletes. Very fun. Okay. So, I mean, I guess we can just get into it. Let me look. I don't know what I want to start with. I kind of like all of these. We can talk about, let's do balancing responsibility. So, obviously being a student athlete, it's more than just being a college student. You have all these extra responsibilities and layers put onto being a student athlete. You have to go to all your practices, perform well in the athletic sense, but you also have to perform well in an academic sense. You have a higher expectation for yourself, and the school has a higher expectation for you.
Right.
How do you guys juggle school, training, and also the important part of being a college student, having a social life?
I would say the biggest part about it for me is definitely time management. I've been blessed with a coach that sends out a practice plan at the beginning or a practice schedule at the beginning of the week. And that generally stays the same throughout the weeks. I'm going to get 2 hours a day doing whatever for practice. But so I've got to know what I'm going to be doing for school, on Sunday. Work around my practice plans and practice schedules and whatnot. Okay. So time management's the biggest one for sure.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. So like if I have a class at like 9 and then a class at 11, like I can be in the MAC or the library studying from 10 to 11 in between then so that I have time. Because I know I have practice for 2 hours later that day, you know?
Right.
But then also you can be social when you study too. You know, like at night you can get all your friends together and you can study together and you can still like be effective and do work and like make jokes and talk a little bit here and there. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I try and be social when I study, but then it turns into
social.
yeah, you have
into
to
social.
balance it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
as my friends would say, and we will be having later tonight, girl talk. So
Okay.
yeah, that's what it turns into. But we have our computers out, so we're still studying.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just
Exactly.
a little bit less of studying. Okay, I mean, I think it's just like with any other extra responsibility. I mean, even your students who are in band or choir or who are research students on top of being an academic student, like you just have to balance that out. Okay. Okay. Do either of you guys participate in anything other than athletics? Like any other extracurriculars, like band, music, research, anything like that?
I don't.
Does that include like, are you talking about like clubs on campus? Or like,
Yeah.
no?
Do you guys also have clubs?
Oh yeah, so I'm in SGA. I'm on honor council. I'm in mortar board and Alpha Chi.
Yeah.
I'm an RA.
She's a do-it-all. She's a do-it-all.
Yeah.
I was an SI one time, but I'm not right now.
Do you have any clubs?
Yeah. So I'm a Core 100 mentor. I've done that for the past 2 semesters. That's been really fun. Really fun. I've worked with Dr. Faria in both of those.
Yeah.
So that's been a really fun class. He's an exercise science guy. So it's fun getting to work with him.
Right.
And kind of be like a mentor to me. So.
Yeah. Okay, that's very cool. So, some of these are kind of the same thing, but just different conversation.
Yeah.
Do you guys mind getting a little personal?
That's fine.
Depends on how deep. I'm just kidding.
Depends on how deep we're getting.
How
Yeah.
deep we're getting.
Okay.
I don't care.
So, I did not pull this statistic, but I'll tell y'all a little story that hit me heavy before I came and played college sports. There was a athlete at Stanford University. Her name was Katie, and she was a goalkeeper for the soccer team. For the soccer team.
There we go.
Yeah, and she was a student. She was an athlete. She was involved in government, like student government stuff. She was so involved on campus. And I believe she was a senior when this happened, but she ended up committing suicide in the middle or at the end, near the end of her season. Obviously, now that that's been an exposure in student athletes and in kind of when people think of student athletes, I know those rates. I don't know the percentage. I'm going to be honest. I didn't think that would be one of the things I talked about, but it's a psychology podcast. There's very high rates of depression, anxiety, mental illness, all that with our student athletes, not just on campus, but in general in this country. So would you guys like to express anything or talk about anything you've seen on campus where you've seen positive mental health be displayed between a team or positive support through our community and how that's helped you cope with being a student athlete and also having all these other stressors? Is there a positive example you can talk about on that?
So my sophomore year, our team was pretty small, so we were all friends. Like we got along really well, and having a good team dynamic also helps a lot.
Yeah,
because they're there for you outside of just like your sport. They're also there for you, socially, and then academically. That you can like push each other, and I think that's a big factor into it. If you like your team, then it goes a long way.
Yeah. I guess that helps. Yeah.
There's a lot of stress that athletes get put under through practices, coaches, on top of also juggling academics and stuff. But the biggest thing is that whenever you're around your teammates every day, you're creating relationships that are strengthened beyond what you would get with a normal, peer that you're in a classroom with. You're seeing these guys every day. You're struggling the same way. You're dealing with the same stuff. So it's good to have those kind of relationships. I've been a part of several relationships like that from high school that I'm still friends with today because they've been there for me whenever things are getting rough or we're getting rough. And it's just blessings to be able to see that and have those kind of relationships.
Yeah. You think those teammate bonds and relationships that you guys have made kind of and build that community underneath you helps with coping with that stress because you are in the same boat together.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
You have something to talk about. You have a common interest in mind with that stuff. And so like whenever something is particularly more stressful that maybe the teammates won't see or don't feel, you can still talk it out with them and tell them about what's going on.
Right.
Or even if it's not your teammates, like me and Kylie could go talk about whatever's going on. We've got a good enough relationship because we're both athletes. We both know the stress of practices, training, building, juggling everything. So
what do you think is an unexpected stressor about being a student athlete? Like what's something you were not expecting to be stressed out about or to be something of a concern while you were an athlete? If there's nothing, then I mean, great for y'all.
That's a hard question, actually.
Yeah. This isn't nothing for me, but there is a lot of things for other athletes that are perfectionists. They have to be doing it right every single time. Right. Or, they're just going to add more stress to their lives. And if they can't get it, then they're just going to spend more time trying to work it. Right. Which that's not a bad thing.
Practice makes perfect.
Practice makes perfect. And if you listen to Sean Tackett, he'll say, well, that's not the right thing. It's perfect practice makes perfect. But that's just a little tidbit from him. But no, like I completely agree with that. But at the same time, you also have to be able to give yourself a break. Yeah. Your body needs that. Your mind needs that. So you can't work yourself to death over something that's, for us is not going to last but more than 4 years.
Right. Right.
So.
Well, that's what I'm currently struggling with. Like, I'm done forever, and it's like I put so much of my identity into my sport that I am a volleyball player, and now that it's gone, like, who even am I?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. The craziest thing was, like she said, that you put so much of your identity into your sport. After high school, whenever I was done with basketball in high school, I knew I had 4 more years left of basketball. Yeah, exactly. And I was still like shell shocked. I was lost. I was like, where in the world am I at and what am I doing? And that's when things started to click about what I wanted to be doing as a profession, going back into basketball. I knew if I was going to be this lost, not having basketball for 6 months, then what am I going to be doing when I don't have basketball for the rest of my life?
Right. So. No, I can definitely attest. For those of you who didn't know, I was a 1-year D3 athlete. But I can say the being done with the sport and at a sport that you've played for so long, because I played soccer since I was roughly 2 or 3 years old. Yeah. And then being done at 19 years old, that's my whole life. That's 16 years of my life. Oh, yeah. And that's so, I remember after I was done with it, and I was like, who am I? What am I even doing? Nothing else. It's felt like the roof caved in a little. And it was like, yeah, nothing else matters. Like, my life's over. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do with my life. Right. But do you think that that's a common pressure a lot of athletes, especially college athletes, put on themselves? And do you think that's kind of like a looming... Like, all college athletes know that once those 4 years are up, like, yeah, you get your degree, but then... my time with my sport and playing this sport collegiately is done. Right. Do you think that's something that might attribute to some extreme stressors and extreme actions taken because of these stressors?
I think that depends on the person. So, unfortunately, a lot of college athletes tend to have as they continue their collegiate career, in their sport, it starts to become more of a job for them and they lose the passion for their sport. And it's like, for me, I've been lucky enough to maintain that love that I have for it. So it's way harder of a goodbye for me than for some other people that I know, right. And that really just depends on your whole experience with your coaching staff, your teammates,
right.
Just everything,
No, she's completely right. If you lose that love for the game, that's when it starts to become, just I'm having to go just to practice, even though I don't really want to be there. Right. And that takes an even more of a mental toll on you than anything else. She hasn't had it, and I've been lucky enough not to have it. But we've both known teammates that have had that they don't really want to be there, and that's fine.
They lose the love.
They lose the love, but for the people that do still love it and do still want to be there, it's tough to see people like that.
Right.
because you want them to love it just as much as you love it, but sometimes you just can't.
Right.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
You can't make it drink, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. So you spoke about, if one of y'all just said something about coaches, I don't know, but coaching staff, like how is your overall experience with your coaching staff over your 4 years here at Lyon been?
Well, I personally feel like I have a good relationship with my coach because I was here the moment she got here. Like I transferred in the same year she started here. And like I said, my sophomore year when I got here, we were a very small team. So she was very big on like, if you're having like troubles outside of volleyball, come talk to me about it, because then that might reflect into your volleyball. So I won't be as hard on you in practice that day.
Right.
You know? And so I took that advice and I would go talk to her about things here and there. And I don't know, I feel like that's really helped our relationship. And a lot of people are too scared to talk to their coaches, but they're people too.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. So I guess me and Kylee were in the same situation, but I didn't. So I came out as a freshman, and the coach that recruited me, he left a day before classes started. Oh, wow. So we brought in Coach Mays in October. We were left with 12 guys on the team, and by the end of the season, we were playing with 7 on a basketball on a freshman year on a basketball team that's supposed to be playing with 5 on the floor. So we traveled and we had 2 guys sitting over on the bench along with our 2 coaches. So we had 4 guys sitting on the bench. So we had more guys playing than we did on the bench, which was crazy.
Oh my gosh!
But as the years went on, we've slowly built those numbers up and we built those relationships up. And like she said, Coach Mays has always been there for, if we needed something, he's always been the one to say, hey, come talk to me. Let me know what you got going on. If there's anything that I can do to help, we'll be there. We'll try to figure it out.
Right.
If it's out of my hands, it's out of my hands. But if it's something that I can do, then, he's going to want to be there. And the same thing goes for our track coaches. So I didn't throw my freshman year. I was only recruited for basketball. But I expressed interest in throwing my sophomore year. Had a great year, phenomenal year. But Troush and Mayberry, which Mayberry came on my junior year, but and Dalton my sophomore year, they were great. They were great. I loved them every bit. So they've been really great. And I'm still trying to get Kylee to come throw.
Do track.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she needs to. I'm recruiting her hard.
The season's not over yet.
Hey, we haven't even started.
Oh, it just started?
We haven't. Okay. Well, they went, but we haven't started outdoor yet. And so she's gonna be my outdoor jumper. So we're gonna get her.
What's the likelihood?
We're gonna get her
on a
out
scale
there.
of 1 to 10.
10.
Maybe like 4.
Okay.
Oh.
It's not a 0.
That's like a 40% chance, and it still rains at 40%.
I don't like those odds.
So
I don't like those odds. Give me 60 and I'll be good.
We'll see.
So, are either of you guys captains of the teams you were a part of?
Yeah.
You guys were. How important do you think your role as a captain was to the underclassmen and your teammates underneath you in supporting their mental health?
I mean, it's someone that should be able to recognize when people are struggling. And you should make yourself presentable in the way that your teammates can come to you about things also.
I've been a captain for 3 years now.
Okay.
Me and Trent. So my freshman year, Grant Patterson was our captain. He was our sole captain. And then after he graduated, me and Trent kind of took over the role for the next 3 years. So we've been here for 3 years being the captains. What we've kind of taken on as our roles is we're going to be the middleman between coaches and players.
Yeah.
Somebody that the coach can come talk to tell us, to relay a message. So that way it doesn't come from him that we need to be doing something.
Yeah.
But also something that the athletes can come to us and be like, hey, we need to change this. Yeah. Like, nobody really wants to be doing this, and it's not really being beneficial for anybody. Right. So we can go to coach and do that. And so we've always had that kind of relationship to be able to do that. And so that's what I've always enjoyed about being a captain.
Yeah. A little bit of self-reflection, and you don't have to answer this one if you don't want to. Do you feel that you have succeeded in your role as being a captain and supporting your teammates and being that bridge and that advocate for your teammates?
I think I learned a lot. So it helped me grow a lot as a person. because my sophomore year, I started to step into positions, but we had like great leaders on the team already, so there was no reason for me to step over a certain boundary. So I played my role and they played theirs, and now once they kind of left, then I started to step up more my junior year and then my senior year. And it's been very exciting, actually, to see how I've grown as a person as a result of that. Of course, there's things I could do better, and you learn from those experiences. But I feel like overall, I'm proud of what how I've developed.
Well, and I think that's an important sentence that you said, where you said, wow, repeated that one. I definitely haven't done some things right. I think that's an important thing to say, because nobody is going to do everything 100% correct all of the time.
Right.
And it's important to give yourself that grace to protect your own mental well-being when you're trying to assume these roles and defend your teammates. Be that bridge, be that middle ground. You're not always going to do everything right, but you're at least going to do your best with it.
Right.
Do you feel like you've done a good job?
I feel like I've done it. You have to ask the guys on the team. I think most of them would say that I've done a decent enough job. It depends on who you ask, truthfully. Yeah, some of the guys are like, no, he's horrible. But I hope they don't say anything like that. But no, one of the things that I was learned from myself from sophomore year was that I got to handle different guys differently. And that was the biggest thing for me, because when I'm on the floor, like, I'm yelling. Like, I'm yelling. I mean, it doesn't, regardless of how it comes off to anybody else, I'm yelling. And so, you got guys that respond differently to yelling. And so if they've been yelled at before and it's been degrading, they're just going to shut down to that yelling. And so I've had to kind of adjust the way that I talk to them, the way I communicate with them on the floor. So, hey, let's do this different next time. All right. And so that's been the biggest thing is changing the way that I'm handling things.
Right. Like adapting to your environment.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Let me think. I don't know. What do we want to talk about? Let's talk about social media. Okay. And
big change.
Yeah.
Big shift.
I've got
dynamic shift.
The problem with this list, actually, no, we'll talk about social media later. I want to talk about, and all good things, Lyon College, I promise. Access to mental health resources through your campus and your support through your campus. All good things, because Lyon College is amazing. Hashtag Go Scots Go.
Go Scots Go.
But because you guys have been here, you've been here 3 years. You've been here 4
years. So
during your time here at Lyon College, do you feel like you felt that community support from your coaches, from your teammates, from the school to support you in the best way possible pursuing a path as a student athlete?
I mean, I personally feel like I have.
Right.
Yeah. I've had a really good experience here. Like, I've been able to make connections with my coach, like I said, and my professors even. Like, I can tell that they, for the most part, like, care about me and want me to do better. And I kind of found my group as soon as I got here with my friends.
I think the biggest thing that you just said right there is that they're supportive. When you look up in the stands and you see your professors there,
oh my gosh, I get so happy.
That's like, oh my gosh, you're not going to see that anywhere else. Like, unless you're at a small school, like, they're not going to be there.
Right.
And you look up there and you see half of your professors that you've had this semester or that you've had, for 4 years.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So I really enjoy that.
Yeah. I remember, what game was that? I don't remember. I actually don't remember any sequence of any game I played. I just remember just the blurb of I'm on the field.
Oh, yeah.
But I remember once I got knocked on my butt one time, and I looked up, what's his name? Dr. Byers. Dr. Byers was there, and he just went, he was like, get up.
That sounds like Dr. Byers.
And I had never had a class with him before.
Really?
Never met this man before. And I'm like, who is this guy?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, is this someone's dad? And I came back to the locker room and I asked, and no one was like, we don't know who that guy is. Come next semester, he's my nutrition professor.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, you look familiar. And he's like, you fell on your butt during a game. I was like, oh. was like, ouch. But it's nice to know that.
And I promise you, only him would remember that.
Yeah,
only he would remember
only
that.
he would remember that.
Oh yeah.
Nobody else would ever remember that.
No,
Well, and like other professors, like the director of our honors program, Dr. Saunders, she would bring her daughter out to watch us play, and
Dr. O with her.
Dr. O with her.
Watching
kids.
him like dance between the basketball game. He can moonwalk.
Yeah, he can. Oh, what's it? And like Dr. Sonia, when she was pregnant during volleyball season, she'd be like knitting while watching y'all's games. And I was like, they love being
absolutely
at our
they love
games.
Supporting us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where liberal arts and small educations get a bit of a what's the word? Sorry, someone just walked by with a really big package. We need to get like some blackout curtains or something because I just forgot what I was saying because that package threw me for a loop. That was a really big box. What was I saying?
Small colleges.
Colleges.
Get something.
We have an advantage over these like large state schools or schools where like the athletic department has like, I don't know, maybe this is an over exaggeration, but like 5,000 athletes.
Yeah.
I don't think that's I think for some schools that's not an over exaggeration.
That's probably a pretty big over exaggeration.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 2,000?
That's still probably pretty big over exaggeration.
Really?
Yeah.
500?
It's probably closer.
Okay. Really?
Depends on where you're at.
Okay. Like if you were
Well,
at...
I mean, they're going to have the same number of athletes that we have. They're just going to have more like students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, let's have
Like
more sports teams. They'll have more sports
Oh, I'm
teams.
talking about like state schools.
Like Arkansas. Like Arkansas.
Are those like... Okay, I'm severely overestimating athletic departments.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. We'll just say like 500.
Okay.
We'll just say 500.
I think that'd be pretty close.
Okay.
Pretty close.
Let's say the University of Arkansas has 500 students. Not students, student athletes. They've got like how many students? Like 13,000?
Yeah, they got a lot.
Yeah, 13,000 students.
They got a lot.
Most of those students will go to those games, but it feels different. Like the games, it feels like you're going to a Cowboys game rather than you're going to like your minor league game where you're supporting people who are in the hometown.
You don't know those athletes on a personal level.
Yes, you know them on a athletic level, and you only know one side of the person. Here, that's the point I'm trying to make. Here, we know the full person. That is the point I'm trying to make, is that you know the full person, and it is so... That's what we have a leg up. That's what I'm trying to say. Oh my gosh, a leg up on other colleges is because we have that large percentage. How much was that? 60.2% of our student population are athletes, and our professors all know us, and they all know who we are, what we like to do, our tidbits of our personality, and what we show during courses and during activities that they see us at. But they know us.
Right.
And I feel like that also does help with a little bit of the mental toll because we all know, it stinks that I'm up at 2 a.m. finishing a paper right after practice and I haven't showered yet because I had to run and do this, or I didn't get to eat at the caf, so I had to like go scour my room for something.
Right.
Like, trust me, I get that struggle many a times. But it's nice to know that I could wake up next morning and my professor could be like, "Hey, like I saw you at your game. Like you played really well."
Right,
and that's the best feeling ever. And even when Dr. Byers was like, "Hey, you fell on your butt." That was still such a cool feeling because it's like, "Oh, somebody saw me." Like it's still a cool feeling. It's like it's that feeling of support. And I think that's one of the things that the small colleges get and the large colleges don't get. And that's why I feel that our campus has a good support staff for our students. I mean, objectively off my end, I think we do. Obviously, like what you said, everyone's going to make mistakes. There's going to be certain situations where we make mistakes. And yes, things fall through the cracks or whatever. But overall, I think we have a pretty good mental status of our athletes on campus. And if they don't, we got Victoria. Sarah, the athletic trainer in Becknell Gym.
Yes.
She is amazing.
I think her office is more of what do you say? Just a counseling center.
A counseling center for the athletes.
Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah.
First
She's great.
semester, I would just go in there to hang out. Like I would try to do homework in there. Kevin Jenkins, you did not hear that statement. So we could just like talk and.
Yeah. She's great for sure.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
And like even I'm not as close with Emily, our other athletic trainer, but Emily is super cool. I remember I had to cut my hair for a drug testing because I had to go take an exam, and I was really upset about it. And she was just, it wasn't like crazy. I didn't like I had all my hair,
Yeah.
but I was pretty upset about it. And like she was really great, and like she always asked me how I'm doing. Anytime I see her, she's always just like, "Oh, hey, Hannah." I'm like, "You remember my name?" Like I don't even come over near you. Like, also, I just wanted to make a point. I forgot golf when I was labeling all the sports, and I can't really miss golf. So because
they're the USCAA
two times in a row, and I cannot believe I missed that. Alex Gleason, I'm so sorry. We're friends, and I'm so sorry I missed your sport. But anyway, I mean, we have a great support staff. I think I'm not 4 years in, 3 years in with the athletic department, but based on my year and also my exiting of athletics, I think I had a lot of support from within the support staff. Did you guys know that last year Victoria ran a athlete like support group?
I think I heard something about it, but I didn't know it was actually like active.
Do you think that having something more permanent like that on campus would be beneficial? Do you think anyone would go?
Yeah. I mean, if it's advertised the right way.
If it's advertised?
Yes.
How do you think that would look? What do you think? And from a completely like, I know neither of y'all are like psychology majors, so there's not like a lot of background to it, but from an athlete standpoint, what would you want to look for a support group like ran by your school? What would you want in that?
I think the biggest thing would be athlete led. I would not want
that's a good point.
to be. I would want a sponsor, like somebody that kind of knew what they were doing, but I would not want them. That as somebody that's never been in athletics or hasn't been a part of or doesn't know the struggles that we're going through right now, trying to tell us that it's going to be okay, it's going to be all right, because we're like, but you don't know what we're doing, you don't know what we're dealing with right now. We want somebody that knows what we're dealing with. I think that would be the biggest place to start. Do you think if it were instated long enough and more trust was built within the group, do you think there would be more difficult conversations that are had that maybe can't be had at practices or between teammates? Maybe between an athletics department?
Over time, for sure. Not in the beginning.
No. It'd be a little awkward. It'd be a little awkward. Because we're in a culture that has kind of shifted that way, but it's still kind of hush-hush for athletes to talk about what's going on. Like they just, we're just supposed to be okay, and
Well, because like there's a giant mural across Becknell Gym of y'all performing your sport and just like this idealistic idea of what an athlete's supposed to be, and not, oh, well, that athlete, like they didn't do so well on their exam and they didn't play that well that game, but you took that picture and that's the backstory behind the picture. Not saying any of them played bad or got a bad grade on their exam. That's just an example. But like it's this idealistic version and this expectation and this like, this idolized like version of an athlete. And so, I mean, I get that. I think a support group I think a permanent one would be good. I know last year it happened. I don't know who ran it. I want to say, no, I don't think it was Victoria. I don't know who ran it though. But I think, I remembered that this past weekend. And I was like, that would be something to bring back, I think. And something to bring back.
That would be very beneficial.
Exactly.
Do you know if people like showed up to it?
I went once.
Okay.
I don't know. I honestly cannot remember how many people went because my first semester here at Lyon is like gone.
Because I didn't even, like I said, I didn't even know it was like actively going on.
Yeah. So. I remember I referred teammates to it. I remember I said, hey, this is a thing. But nobody ever went. And I don't think it was student run. I could be wrong. Okay. I could be wrong. But I didn't even think about having it be student run.
Yeah, that was a really good idea.
Do you think looking at your teammates, maybe your juniors and your sophomores and below you, do you think those teammates would be able to have those difficult conversations and lead that? Do you think there are students on campus who could take up those reins?
I think it could be seniors. I think seniors would be the great place to start.
They have a lot of experience.
They've been around the block, so to say. I think that would be the greatest way to do it.
Yeah. I could think of a couple football players that I know would really love to lead something like that.
Yeah.
And would do really good, actually.
Well, because do we have a fellowship of Christian athletes on campus?
We do?
I think so. I could be wrong, but I feel like I remember seeing that somewhere.
I've seen a Lyon like FCA shirt at Goodwill, so
Yeah.
I don't know if it's active though. I think we might have
not be.
had it, but I know I know in my high school that was used as an athlete support group.
Yeah, we FCA is a big high school thing,
Yeah.
and I've had people reach out to me asking to start it back up here. So I don't think, I don't think that we have one.
I know we have though, because I've seen the shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know we've had one, but I don't know if we have one. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that would be a great place to.
But you think that these like extra resources, while some people could say like maybe we need more resources for general students, do you think they're more in need for student athletes? Do you think it is a need, or do you think it's just something that could be nice to add?
Well, I mean, you got to think we're 60% of the population right now. I mean, I think a lot of what we're focused on is towards student athletes, and not that that's a bad thing, because that's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
You know, if we were 20% student athletes, then that'd be a little different. Yeah. But
20% student athletes would be like less than 100 athletes here at Lyon.
We'd have to build some more dorm halls.
I was gonna say we're either increasing our student population, or we're decreasing our athlete population.
I don't like either one.
I don't like either one. I like being small, and I like being mighty in numbers.
Mighty in numbers for athletes.
Numbers,
Okay, I guess we can talk about social media. So
I guess.
I know for me, I follow a rugby player named I'm gonna butcher her name so bad. Iona Meyer.
Okay.
Do y'all not know who she is?
Is it the one beefy girl?
Okay. Yes, she's.
I hope she doesn't watch this podcast and hear that.
She is like very like muscular. Oh my gosh. She's a rugby player. She's a rugby player. Okay. I don't know the positions in rugby. I'm not a rugby player.
I would love to play rugby.
It looks like so much fun.
Rugby, I would love to play rugby.
Oh my gosh.
Those are my two sports: rugby and hockey.
Oh, okay. I love hockey.
If I had either one of those, I would pick them up and just roll with it.
Right.
I could see you being a hockey player.
Fighting all the time.
Yeah.
I would. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Sign me up.
Because isn't there a box where it's just like you can fight, but you go in there?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Get a little penalty time, and you're good. You're back out there.
Like how many times can you go in there before you're like ejected? Yeah.
That'd be another thing. I have to learn hockey rules. So.
Yeah.
Can you skate?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Can you skate, but also use that, but also keep people off?
I don't know that one. I can stay afloat or stay on my feet. Stay afloat. I can stay on my feet well enough to be able to go a little bit fast.
Right.
If I start swinging a stick, I don't know how much balance I'd have there, but.
I can't focus on foot and hand eye. Mad props to hockey players.
Oh yeah.
But this wrestler that I follow, no, my gosh, this rugby player, rugby, not wrestle, rugby. She is like all about like positive like mental health and like anti-imposter syndrome for athletes. That's been like it's been a very recent trend in like, I want to say in the last year and a half, has been like more towards athlete mental health, and not just like student athlete, but athlete in general, because she's an Olympian. So like, you know, and I know I struggled a lot with a comparing myself to other athletes that I saw, athletes that were like 36 years old, and I'm like, oh, I should be like that. It's like, no, I should not be like that. I'm 18, 19 years old. Do you guys struggle sometimes with seeing these like other students, athletes like your age at like the D1 level or anything like that, and just be like, you know, maybe I should be up to that skill level, or even 38-year-old people and be like, I should be up to that skill level? Do you think that affects you in any way?
I'll tell you this. There's a pretty big gap in basketball between Division I and Division III athletes. It gets a little thinner when you go into track.
Yeah.
Just take, for example, last year, we went to Euler, which is a Division I school, throwing against UCA, Euler, you know, those type of schools. I got first place in the discus.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little bit of a different environment when you're having to compete and do your best on a performance based, like a whatever it's called, a mark measurement base rather than a team performance.
Yeah,
there's a little bit different there, but I do see where a lot of athletes can look at Division I athletes because they have more access to training, personal trainers. They've got, ability to eat the right ways, rather than if we're, here, we got to go to the calf or something that maybe not has the best nutritional compared to what they would have.
Which is like geared straight
Right,
for athlete
straight towards
nutrition.
their, exactly.
Yes.
So I can see how they would look at them and be like, that's not fair. I want to be like that. So the best thing I can say is just stay off social media. Like that's what I try. That's where I try to be at.
Yeah.
I don't want to stay on social media, because that's where you're going to start looking at, especially when you are feeling down about your sport.
And
that's
yourself.
when you really start to pick on yourself.
Yes.
Is whenever you're down about, oh well, I didn't score very well today. I didn't do my best playing. And then you start looking at that stuff. Well, that person had 30 points at a Division I level. I got to do better.
Yeah.
That's just that's just where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
There was a while where, so for a outside hitter, oh gosh, I'm restarting that statement completely. For my position in volleyball, I am on the short side. Like I'm 5'7". The people that typically play my position at like D1 levels are like 5'11", 6 foot, 6'1". So it's like that's always been my excuse. It's like, oh, like I'm just too short to play D1.
I know your pain.
There's this girl at U of A that's my height, and she's my position. She's the only one that I know of right now in the D1 level, but she can do it. So then it's like, well, maybe if I worked harder when I was younger.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I quit my 9th and 10th grade year of high school, so like maybe if I didn't do that, maybe if I, took it more seriously for a while, that like I could have been doing stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I just had other priorities at the time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of balancing a lot of things at once and taking grace on yourself for that.
Right.
Because like there were other things in my life that were making me happier. Like I was also a gymnast for a long time, and that's for 12 years. And
Really?
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
that's why I quit my 9th and 10th grade year, was because those were really big transition years. Like I did that all the way until I graduated
Wow.
high school. But
Crazy. Kylie lore.
yeah, that was also a huge
Probably
part
why
of my
she can jump so
identity.
high.
Like
It's crazy.
quitting gymnastics was the first step into this whole identity crisis, and now that I have to like volleyball's done too, like I don't know.
I told her, so hey, you could pick up basketball right now if you wanted to. Like you would be phenomenal. Just coming in there and getting a rebound and just I swear, I think she can dunk. Truthfully, I think she can.
No.
Have you tried?
No, but I don't think I could.
I think you might need to just try.
I can't touch the rim.
Oh.
That's not
You have
true.
to touch the rim to dunk.
That's not true.
You don't have to touch the rim to dunk.
No, I thought you did. I thought you did the other day.
Touch the rim?
Yeah.
Oh, we were messing around with parts of the backboard.
Oh, okay. We tried to convince her to see if she could get the rim the other day. I thought I could have swore she did. Could have swore she did.
No.
Right. Well, and a lot of conversations that I have about college age people, it typically just ends with the conclusion of social media sucks and comparison is a thief of joy. Thief of joy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that was my biggest takeaway being an athlete, that comparison is the thief of joy.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was my biggest takeaway, because I mean, I compared myself to like people on national teams, which is ridiculous. And also I compared myself to like 38-year-old men.
Yeah.
Like I am not going to play like a 38-year-old man. Like, unfortunately, I mean, I wish I was like Messi on the field, just like back and forth, rollovers, completely taking people out that are taller than me. But unfortunately,
just take some steroids and some testosterone.
Yeah, that is going to have to be what it takes. But I think now that I reflected on it and I'm out of that, it's like I actually enjoyed my athletic career, and like I hope my kids play soccer, and if they don't, well, there's not a choice. But
Exactly. That's exactly right. That's what I've always said. If
There's no choice.
My kids aren't playing basketball, they might as well go on.
Then like, who are they? Like,
Right,
what is
right,
this?
right.
Who are you? I don't know who you are, but
I know.
No, I'm kidding, kind of. But like, I mean, at least be an athlete. Do something.
Do something.
I wanna be able to, like, because my mom's a soccer mom. Like, I want to
Really?
be a sport mom,
Yeah.
not a dance mom. I don't want to be a dance mom.
Okay.
That's one thing.
What about a gymnast mom?
I'd be a gymnast mom. My dad was a gymnast. He
Really?
went like, and Dad, correct me if I'm wrong, he went pre-Olympics. Like,
Wow.
Trials?
Okay.
To the trials?
I think so. I could
Really?
be so wrong, and I'm
Wow.
just like really overhyping my dad. But like,
That's crazy.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because he worked the rings.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, he was in the 90s, worked the rings.
Wow. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
Dad.
he's pretty strong.
Yes, my dad is very
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah.
He's a firefighter. Well,
Oh,
he's a
okay.
fire chief.
Mhm.
But
Chief.
yeah,
Throw that one in
How
there.
to
yeah,
clarify.
yeah, fire chief of a very big fire department. Just want to say, go Dad. How are we on time, Cheyenne? Because I have one more big question.
46.
45 minutes.
We're at 45 minutes.
Yeah, 45 minutes in.
Oh, I thought you said 45 minutes till the end. I was like, it's only been 15 minutes.
We won't talk 15 minutes. Boy, we're talking fast.
Yeah.
What's it called? We're not gonna talk about that. Okay, I guess I'll just ask my last little question. It'll be a little shorter, and we can like pop off and talk about some other things. So, were both of y'all athletes throughout your entire like life, basically? You said 12 years.
Yeah.
How long? When did you start becoming an athlete?
I guess when I first picked up, well, I had a pretty traumatic experience with basketball when I was in kindergarten.
Really.
Oh,
Little dribblers. Have you ever heard of little
yes,
dribblers?
I know what little dribblers.
Okay,
is.
so they go around and like they perform, just dribbling the ball at like half times of like high school games, college games, stuff like that.
It's like performance basketball.
Yeah. So I went to the first day of little dribblers in kindergarten and hated it. Could not do it. Left. I was like, I'm not playing basketball ever again. I'm not doing basketball ever again. And so here I am now. But yeah, I had a pretty traumatic first experience. So that was kindergarten. So what? 16 years ago?
Yeah.
However many years ago?
I actually went to try out for basketball one time. The day before I fractured my elbow. It was a sign that I was not supposed to play basketball.
So maybe she shouldn't play basketball.
Well, I don't know if it's a sign. I think saying you weren't ready then. Now you're ready now. That's my take on it.
Like, yeah, you're ready now.
Mm-hmm.
What's it? So yeah, y'all have been athletes for a good portion of your life. Two questions, two-parter question. Actually, not really two-part. They're two separate questions. Anyway, if you went to like brother or sister, maybe niece and nephew's like sporting events, and you saw like a little girl or a little boy, he was struggling with little dribblers, and she couldn't do her back handspring.
'Kay.
Sure. Yeah. Is that gymnastics?
Yeah.
Okay. My dad's just like, oh my gosh. No, like if you saw them not able to do it and they were down on themselves and they said they wanted to quit, what would be something that you would tell them?
I'll let you lead.
I mean, like, part of the adventure is your failures, you know, because the minute
Oh.
you overcome those, you feel so good about yourself. So I had a period of gymnastics for a whole year where I had a mental block on something and I could not get myself to throw it. And I would leave practice almost every single day, like crying. And I prayed about it all the time. And a year later, when that's a long time to leave practice crying. I really loved the sport and I wasn't quite ready to give up. However, I was getting really, really close. And that is one of my like whole Jesus stories I could talk about. But after that year, when I got over it and I was able to move on and like keep competing, like, I don't know, that I felt so good. Like that is a core part of the journey.
Oh, yeah.
And allowing people to understand that, I think is really important, that it's okay to not be perfect every time and to mess up.
Yeah.
That's just going to develop you as an athlete, as a person.
Oh, yeah.
I shouldn't have let her lead because now I got to follow that. No, the biggest thing I would have said would just tell that little story of how I was ready to be done with basketball and then to where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Like she said, you got to embrace the struggle
Oh, yeah.
because it's going to come.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, regardless of wherever, soccer, volleyball, basketball, I was a 3-sport athlete in high school. There was struggle everywhere,
Yeah.
it's just part of it. It's just what you got to deal with.
Yeah.
So,
Well, because for those of you who don't know, I was a club soccer player. So I played the travel ball is what, like in volleyball, I think that's
Right.
what that's called, travel ball. And I had a really bad coach, like 2 coaches into my club career. and like so bad that I was like ready to quit. Like bad coach, couple bad teammates. I hope they're not watching this because that would break up some old wounds.
You didn't say names.
I don't think we're following each other on Facebook, so I think it's fine. Oh. But
so they know who they are.
Yeah, I think they know who they are. But I was like so ready to quit, and I think the biggest thing for me was finding my last club coach, which was Coach Joe Stevens, and I went to the first practice to like, try it out because my dad was like, "Oh, don't quit just yet," and my dad's like, "Just give it all you can give." And I was literally going to tryouts up until signing day. Like when signing day came around, July 1st, it always comes around. I was going to tryouts all the way up until then, and I went, and that coach knew I had some like struggles, knew I had like a really bad experience with a coach. And he just made it seem like I was at a practice rather than a tryout. And I think good coaches can build good athletes. And I know like that's a huge message that everybody gets in like in the inspirational like 90s Disney films. You got the coaches who are there lifting up the kids who the underdogs no one thought, and But I'm really glad that I had that coach, and I think that's an important thing to say is picking yourself back up, because Coach Joe always said to just like pick yourself back up, just keep working through it. I guess that my last question was like, what would you tell yourself from like 4 years ago or 3 years ago when you first came to Lyon? Like, what would you tell your student athlete self who was like probably stressed out of their marbles, like sitting there being like, I got to be an athlete, a student, I got to handle this. Like, what would you say to them?
Did you stress as a freshman?
Yes, but not really because of the workload, because of it's part of the reason I transferred, is part of the team environment.
Yeah.
That was my stress. And
what would you tell her now that you're here?
Just that it gets better, and that was part of my development as a leader, is learning what environment I did not want to foster the way that they fostered it. I didn't want to be like them. I wanted to create a different environment.
Right.
So what was the question?
What would you tell like Kylee from 4 years ago at the beginning of your college career?
Oh yeah, I answered that initially.
Yeah, you did. It's okay. It's totally fine. Yeah, you answered that. You're good.
Just keep learning from your experiences.
Yeah, keep moving on.
Huge part of things.
Yeah.
I guess if she was a stressor, I was not a stressor. Like, I did not stress it. I don't think I've stressed about anything in my life. Like I'm serious. I am just like laid back. Yeah, right. I'm just as laid back as can be. Like, well, I will say this: the only thing that I will ever stress about is being on time for anything.
Yeah.
If I'm late for anything, I'm like, what am I doing? Let's go. We gotta go. My brother.
I'm showing up right on time.
My brother's horrible. Like, he's horrible. Like he'll walk in 10 minutes late and be like, "What's up?" And if I'm not there 20 minutes early, I'm like ready to just jump out of the seat.
Yeah.
You're in the training room like an hour.
Oh, that's
before
that's also because I'm broken too. Yeah. But I was hoping you were going to ask a question about injuries, because I could talk all about it.
Oh my gosh, it was on my list.
But no, you're good. But no, what I would tell myself is just take the time to enjoy.
Yeah.
Because being a commuter, living at home, first thing I'm doing when I'm leaving practice is going home.
Yeah.
I mean, so just take the time, just take a few minutes to enjoy where you're at, because the 4 years are going to fly by, and they have, trust me.
Yeah.
Looking at the last 3 months of our college careers, and we're like,
that's crazy.
Where are we at? Where were we at? Like, why are we not, 4 years ago still?
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah. So it's pretty crazy. Now, granted, I get to go to college for another year for track, but I don't know if Kylee does. She would if she would go to.
Yeah, if she would join track.
If she would join track, she would get to go for another year, but she just don't want to. So, but yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay.
Just kind of enjoy. Take the time to enjoy. What the saying is, smell the roses.
Yeah.
Take time to enjoy and smell the roses.
I really like that.
Yeah.
Like, that is my whole internal motto, is just enjoy every moment.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Just smell your roses. Yeah.
Exactly right.
I think I remember why I didn't have that on my list, the injury thing, because I have an unannounced episode with an athletic trainer. I just remember that.
Oh.
And she actually doesn't know that. She's getting the email at 5:30.
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
But I guess, yeah, sneak peek is we're trying to plan an episode with Sarah, the athletic trainer, to talk about
Should be
mental
great.
block
Yeah,
should be
and
great.
injuries of athletes and how not only being an athlete that had that injury, but also being now in the seat of helping those athletes.
Yeah.
Right.
That's going to be a good episode. I'm so excited to have Sarah on.
Absolutely.
I miss Sarah. I haven't seen her since the beginning of semester started.
Oh, wow.
Because I've just been going.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And like the gym is not open regularly, so I don't regularly go over there.
Yeah.
That's my only complaint about athletics. Have a more regular schedule with the gym because I need to get in there
Yeah,
and
I
get
kicked me out
games.
of there by 9.
They kicked you out of there at 9?
Yeah, they did. We were playing volleyball, and they just shut the lights off and told us to get out. They were like, "It's 9. Please leave." I was
How,
like,
how
"Okay,
do
I'm
y'all
sorry."
expect to have a 60% student athlete
Right.
percentage and
You
not let
can't-
us get
yeah,
games? Like,
exactly
come on.
right.
But no, thank y'all so much for being on my podcast.
Glad to
Or
be here.
Cari and
Yeah,
I. I
yeah.
should have gotten a cutout of Cari, like stand right here. But no, we appreciate it. This was a great episode.
Yeah.
There might be more episodes like this in the future because I love talking about sports psychology. I think it's
Yeah.
interesting. Especially since it was an experience I had in my own life. And so I love talking to athletes about that. I feel so bad I didn't talk about injuries. I'm sorry, y'all.
Fine.
I know that's like y'all's own personal experiences.
They probably would have been long
Oh,
stories
that
for
would
both of us.
have been long story.
Long.
So you missed out. You missed out.
Well, but thank y'all for coming. And yeah, well, I typically wave to my camera. So if y'all want to wave to my cameras, you go, bye. You can cut this out. Can you see my feet? Okay. Dude, I have a thing about people seeing my feet on recording.
But it's just your socks. It's not
I
like your
know,
feet.
but like
Can't see your foot.
it looks goofy. Like my socks, I think it's because they're white. These are my camp counselor socks. These are like what I think that 90s camp counselors wear. So I was like, I really like those. So I bought them from Walmart. $8 for 24. So I'm
I think you should put.
gonna start this one. You're you're editing this, correct? Okay.
Where she started is where we're rolling from.
I'm the only one that touches your psych stuff. So
Oh,
no,
all female podcast. What time are we at? Are you rolling right now?
always.
That's I
Always
forget.
rolling. Just stay
I forget
rolling.
that you always roll.